Good afternoon, guys. For those of you who would like to boost your immune system, go to Alaska Chaga, click on that link, and find out why millions of people drink Chaga tea every day. You get 10% off and free freight. And for those of you who would like to learn more about the benefits of CBD oil, go to martinbrodellcbd.com. It's in the description box. And then also for those of you who would like to help our veterans, go to Hero Soap Company and click on that link. They're owned by vets and they give part of their profits to veterans down on their luck. Let's go ahead and start this with destroying a generation, the 3 million missing children of the pandemic. So children are not just falling behind due to pandemic school closures. The problem of missing children is now coming to light. In October, Bellwether Education Partners estimated that millions of the most underserved and at-risk children had not attended school in person or online since March 2020 from their study. They said for approximately 3 million of the most educationally marginalized students in the country, March might have been the last time they experienced any formal education, virtual or in person. Stories from across the country illustrate pieces of this crisis. In Los Angeles, for example, 15 to 20% of English learners, students in foster care, students with disabilities, and homeless students didn't access any of the district's online educational materials from March through May. In Washington, D.C., back-to-school family surveys found that 60% of students lacked the devices and 27% lacked the high-speed internet access needed to successfully participate in virtual school. In Miami-Dade County, 16,000 fewer students enrolled this fall compared with last year. What's going on with all these kids? As I say, that was 4 months ago. Now ABC reports the problem is nationwide. After contacting departments of education officials in all 50 states, they note that it is difficult to determine the magnitude of the issue of missing children because of the lack of centralized data. Still, their investigation found it is affecting the most vulnerable students, those who are homeless, disabled, children in foster care, immigrants, and minorities. Can you imagine the number of children that are homeless because mom and dad lost their home because of the lockdowns? They lost businesses. They've lost it all. It's horrific, absolutely horrific. Moving on to German trial lawyer Dr. Rainer Fulmich outlines the COVID crimes against humanity. So for 26 years, Dr. Rainer Fulmich has been a lawyer in Germany and California. He's one of 4 members of the German Corona Investigative Committee. In this video from October 3rd, 2020, he describes how there is no legal doubt about the possibility of a class action lawsuit against those responsible for the lockdowns. Listen, I've said for a long time that there will be many, tens of thousands of lawsuits, not only because of the lockdowns, but because of the mask mandates and all the rest. It's going to be huge. It'll be a lawyer's dream come true. And then another high-powered elite busted for sex trafficking commits suicide hours after charges are filed. It says the sex trafficking charges happened because of the sickening control he had over these young women. And it says, I recently watched a really powerful documentary on the U.S. gymnastics team and the horrific mental, emotional, and sexual abuse that these young girls went through. The main villain of that documentary was Larry Nassar, the team doctor who ended up going to prison for his lengthy abuse. Well, his sidekick, the beloved coach John Geddert, was part of the filthy abuse. And just hours after sexual assault files were charged against him, this cowardly monster committed suicide. He must have known what was coming because, let's see here. Hold on here. Because he also was also accused of human sex trafficking as well. Hold on, excuse me. Hello. Crank. And so sorry about that. And we're going to see a lot more of this. People are going to be stunned when Trump and them come back in, and they may release some of it sooner, even before he comes back. But there's going to be a number of people that are going to be millions that are going to be stunned by what they find out about different people. Juanita Broaddrick makes case for premeditated murder charges against Cuomo. Well, when you think of that way, yes, it does look premeditated, and it was premeditated. Absolutely. It says the world is crumbling for Andrew Cuomo. Things are getting worse every day. And I'm not talking about the Me Too stuff. Yes, he's a pig. But it's what he did to vulnerable elderly Americans that matters most. Just a few months ago, the left incorrectly labeled Cuomo a COVID superhero. Hollywood even awarded him an Emmy for his so-called amazing work on COVID. Meanwhile, everyone on the left knew about his nursing home scandal and had been reporting on it the entire time. But things got so ridiculous that even Fauci, oh, stupid commercials, that even Fauci landed Cuomo as a poster boy for COVID handling and said that New York was a model for how to handle the pandemic. Moving down to, and let's get to Juanita. And as it says here, Juanita Broaddrick has a theory. She thinks Cuomo refused to use the hospital ship because it was sent by President Trump. Maybe he didn't want to give Trump any positive headlines. After all, Cuomo was just another TDS progressive. That may have been part of it. But I think an even bigger part of it, though, is the fact that they wanted to gin up the death statistics. And that's why they did it. That's why they did what they did. They put infected people into those nursing homes. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene stops Cori Bush's amendment to allow violent convicted felons to vote. And good for her. As it says here, Marjorie upstaged her legislative rival Cori Bush on Tuesday by defeating her amendment that would allow violent convicted felons to vote in national elections. Good for you, Marjorie. Thank you. Moving on to, yeah, she's an awesome lady for sure. And then top Arizona news anchor Kari Lake publicly resigns over the direction of her profession. It says top-rated Fox 10 News anchor Kari Lake publicly resigned over the direction of her profession, proving that there may still be a handful of journalists out there who still value integrity. You know something? Anyone who has any integrity, they would quit, but they don't have it. Kaylee, she's joining Fox News. She'll make some money, and and it'll give her some valuable experience for later on. She may, who knows, maybe she'll rejoin Trump and his people when they come back. And Brian Stelter, they say, sounds off. You know something? People like Stelter, at the very least, he will be out of a job. And it says the official word from the network and McEnany comes after a financial disclosure report in January noted that she had signed a contract with Fox News. And anyway, the former White House Spock took some time Tuesday morning to dish on what her job at the White House was like and wished Biden's White House spokesperson Jen Psaki all the best. She says, I wish her all the best. I left her a note saying that much. We've met previously one time, and she was very kind. Kaylee said, so were some of her colleagues in the press shop, and I left her a note. I wish her the best. And Kaylee, she's a class lady. And but for people like Brian Stelter, when the crap hits the fan, look out. Look out. Look out below. Moving on to Obama appointee and Bill and Melinda Gates Gold Medal virologist. We'll just get rid of all the whites in the United States. Immigrants want to get vaccinated the most. Oh man, that's almost funny. It says it is no secret that globalists and progressives have been using race as a tool for division for decades. In the recent past, there's these same kind of authoritarian people attack blacks and Jewish people in order to divide society and usurp its wealth and resources and gain control and power. This time around, they're largely attacking white people. And I mean, it's just, I know it makes no sense. It makes no sense. But we're going to see a lot more things that make no sense. I think it's going to ratchet up even more so. And as far as these vaccines go, hey, you know how I feel about them. I feel the same way most of you do. And then massive payouts, sudden unexplained resignation by Michigan Whitmer's health department director responsible for COVID response. The deception is shocking. The administration needs oversight. So, far left Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has been featured many times on this site, yet she has never seemed to be associated with anything good about this world. She has devastated the economy and society of her state. Michigan has a massive COVID nursing home scandal akin to Cuomo's in New York and has crushed the businesses with totalitarian, unscientific rules to regulate small businesses into permanent failure. Now that the initial stages of this government grift are complete, it appears that the payoffs and cover-ups may have begun. For her unconstitutional actions as governor during the government-induced COVID hysteria of 2020, Michigan repealed Whitmer's emergency authority. Instead of adhering to this ruling, Whitmer simply unconstitutionally went around it by abusing the Office of Health and Human Services to implement the same unconstitutional measures to continue devastating her state. According to Senator Jim Runstead, Michigan is one of 5 states that required COVID patients have to be put into nursing homes with non-infected population. Anyone who looks at this would say that it is crazy proposition. Anyone with any critical thinking and common sense knows that lawmakers should have instead set up field hospitals. Whitmer also shut down businesses and forced unscientific mask mandates as well as numerous other unconstitutional mandates. And let's see here. And it says here that, and since that lawsuit was, let's see here, with the alleged 2020 election corruption ignored and Biden fully installed as president, it seems that craven Michigan lawmakers may finally be willing to address Whitmer's alleged corruption and incompetence with respect to her COVID response via a lawsuit. And says since that lawsuit was announced, it appears that the dominoes may be falling. Let's see here. It says Gretchen Whitmer's health department director is set to receive a $155,000 payout after his sudden resignation in January, and his departure still has not been explained. And then former Michigan State Health Department Robert Gordon also signed a confidentiality agreement, and Lord knows how much he got. I tell you what, a lot of stuff coming. Mitt Romney joins infamous Illuminati Black Eye Club. Yeah, Bush Jr., the Pope, I don't know who that is, but yeah, there's a number of them. He's not alone. And then Pope Francis, apocalyptic biblical great flood is coming. It is. It's going to sweep right on over you, Pope Francis. You'll be the last pope, I believe, to ever exist, at least in our lifetime. And then Microsoft creates COVID system to scan children in schools with unique QR code. I guarantee you, these people are fed up with everything having to do with him. Everything. And he's under the gun. And most state budgets are in good shape, so why send them $350 billion in pandemic relief? It's a payout. That's why. It's a payoff from Biden and all these Democrat governors. That's what it is. It's just a payoff. Anyway, that's all for now. God bless y'all. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, guys.